All right, teachers, this is what we're going to do as far as driving conversations for MAP tests at parent-teacher conferences tonight and then tomorrow. This is the passport. This may be the first time that you're seeing this. And the idea is that when a parent comes in, we're going to have them pick this up. All right. And this is explained in a little different video to the kids. But essentially what it is we want the kid to put their name right there and then what grade they're in right here. All right. So name and grade. Then they're going to come around and visit with each teacher, as you see down below here, and they're going to get you to essentially initial off. Okay, so math, this would be like a Misty or Alice thing. Then you would, initial that you did talk to them about math, and we'll get a little bit more specific in a second with that. Science, Kent or Alice. Reading, it'll be Bulldog Prep, so everybody should talk to somebody about reading, and then the language usage would be right there. Now, what we want to specifically talk about comes to some of these others. So they're going to get their MAP test scores, and this is just obviously a sample, and you guys have seen these kind of charts before. So what we want to do is we want to take the RIT of their test they just took, so that would be winner of 18-19 test, should be the farthest to the right, and theirs will be blue, obviously. So this one is a 237 in reading, for example, and you would do that for science or math or language usage, depending on what you teach. If you're not one of those teachers, then you are off the hook for this one. Okay, then you're each going to have this normative chart handout, and what we want to do is we want to find the corresponding chart. So the goal is obviously, and this is what we want to explain to parents, that if we have a ninth grade kid, they should be, to be average, and we're going to use the mid-year marker, they should be at a 221.3. So let's take a look at, so an 11th grader would be at 222.7 is where we would want them. So what we want to do is say, all right, this student is obviously a 10th grader, and he or she got a 237 is what you can see right here. So what we want to do is we want to write a RIT score on reading right here. So we want to go to, it's going to be kind of tough to see, 37. You may just have to pretend. And then we want to dash, and we want to put the grade level equivalency that would be. So we go back to our chart here, the reading student status norms. Look at a 10th grader. All we need is a 221 for mid-year. So 237 is well beyond even 11th grade. So what we'll simply do is we will just put an 11 plus. And we obviously want to talk to parents about what that means. So just say, hey, little Bobby here is reading at 11 plus level, and that's fantastic. Keep up the great work. Encourage them to challenge to get some more difficult books. Explain how this is going to help them out in tests, ACTs, and things like that in the future. Obviously, something similar would happen for science. Now, these might be a little more difficult conversation, but let's pretend that this number and their science test was let's see here. Let's pretend as a 10th grader, that number on the science test would be a 208. Okay. And we should be going for, as a 10th grader, a 214. So 208 would be somewhere between 6th and 7th grade. So what we would do is we would call that just a 6th grade equivalency. So in science, we would simply write 208 hyphen, and say that is where the average 8th grader, that's where the average 6th grader is what we would put, is scoring. So let's delete that 8 and put, that's where our average 6th graders are scoring. So we need to really step it up, get a little bit more serious. I know we're going to push support from home, homework, and all that kind of stuff. You just have to pretend that says 6th. And the more support we can get on all sides, the better. But the goal is obvious to get them up to grade level and beyond. Beyond that, what I would say for any seniors that come in, since we don't have any kind of normed data for them, is just go off the 11th grade and just say, hey, if they have a 222.7 in reading, then that's where the average 11th grader is. We'd like them to be a little bit higher. If they have a 225, or say, hey, you're all set, you're doing stuff the right way. you're a 222.7 or 225 the middle of your senior year. So again, the goal is each student that comes to conference with a parent, you're going to get this signed right here. So science, Boulder prep teacher, and English teacher. Student name, student grade, you are going to write the score as content area teachers, hyphen the grade level that they're in. And again, I think this is just completely basic. And then the expectation would be is they turn this in before they leave. But we just want to put that data in front of the parents to know exactly where their kids are scoring. And ideally, in a perfect world, the kids would come with their parents. So again, ask myself or Mrs. Pope if you have any questions, but we want these cards filled up as much as possible coming up in these parent-teacher conferences.